evening. Welcome to Dispatch, the weekly show designed to keep you on track as you build and operate your layout. I'm Roy Smith, your dispatcher. Thank you for joining me tonight. Coming up on tonight's show, 2 big shout outs, your layout photos, the question of the week, and your comments. Let's get started with the first of the 2 big shout outs on tonight's show. This first shout out tonight goes to Jason Woods and his JNW HO series, in which Jason is modeling the Escarpment HO model railway set in the early 1970s to early 1980s. Jason's layout is now under construction. When finished, it will fit into a space measuring 15 feet by 24 feet. It will span 3 levels and will feature 2 helices. The layout design allows for continuous running as well as point-to-point operations. Let's take a look at what Jason has done so far.
Welcome! Are you interested in a multi-level layout HO scale build over 3 levels and includes 2 helices? Then you're at the right channel. Stick around. In this episode today, I'm pretty much going to take you around and show you, I guess, all the new stuff that I've been doing over the last couple of weeks. Up on level 2 will be the second helix going from level 2 to level 3 in this area here. So I need to make sure I've got access in the middle, and I'll be getting to that over the next couple of months. As you can see, I guess from the last video, I've actually completed the track work down here, I guess bar, pretty much that end there where it loops back on itself, as mentioned earlier. Pretty much the track work up to that point has been completed.
All right, I'd like you to go over to Jason's channel and take a look around when dispatch ends. I'll put a link down below that will take you there. Be sure to subscribe while you're there and tell him Roy Smith sent you. Now, I want you to stay tuned because I will be doing a second shout out later in the program. Coming up next, your layout photos. Once again, many of you have posted photos of your layouts at the N-Scale Union Pacific Evanston Subdivision group on Facebook this week, and from there, I have been able to bring your photos over to Dispatch. Let me share them with you now. Here's what I want you to do when dispatch ends. Go over there, join the group, and post a photo of your layout. I'll put a link down below. I will share your photo in next week's edition of Dispatch. Be sure to come right back here, though, after you've done that, because there's a ton of stuff here on this channel that I want to share with you. And now, the question of the week. In last week's episode of Dispatch, I posed the following question. What is your one favorite thing to do on your layout? You have responded, and here are the results. As you can see on this graph, your favorite activity is running trains, very closely followed by building scenery. Conducting operations, especially industrial switching, also ranked high as a favorite activity. A few of you preferred other activities, including bench work, track work, layout planning, and structure building. I'd like to thank all of you for your inputs to the question of the week. Now, the question for the coming week. Here it is. Do you have too many locomotives on your layout? How do you know you have too many locomotives? Is it even possible to have too many? Well, let me know in the comments section down below. I will summarize your answers in next week's episode of Dispatch. Again, the question of the coming week is, do you have too many locomotives on your layout? And now your comments. I post a layout update right here on this channel every Saturday morning. Currently, I am posting a series of videos about the big track plan changes I am making on my layout. This past Saturday's episode was called Laying Track on My Lift-Up. In it, I installed track on the lift-up section that crosses the entrance to my train room. Then, I ran some trains across the lift-up for the first time. Here's a brief clip from Saturday's video. Today, I'm going to do what you've all been waiting for me to do. That is, I'm going to lay track on the lift-up. And if I don't cause an electrical catastrophe as I lay the track, I will then run some trains across the bridge. Many of you posted comments in response to that video. A majority of your comments had to do with the Cato expansion tracks I showed you in the video, with scenery on the lift-up, and with continuous running on the layout after building the lift-up. For example, Larry Berger asked, just how do these Cato expansion tracks work when you raise the lift-up section? Can you do a demo? Absolutely, Larry. I will show you how the expansion tracks and the lift-up work at the beginning of this Saturday's video. One important thing, you have to modify the unijoiners, or as Cato rail joiners are called, for them to function as I described, and I will show you how to make those modifications in Saturday's video. Gary Binder wrote, I will be interested to see how you scenic the lift-up. Well, Gary, I should be able to put some low-profile scenery on the lift-up. It will be relatively flat terrain with desert vegetation. I will use foam, which should withstand the frequent movement of the lift-up. And Stephen Riley wrote, I think you will really enjoy the continuous running time. You are absolutely right, Stephen. In fact, I'm already having tons of fun just running trains on the upper level of my layout without them disappearing down the helices to staging. Here's one of those trains now. Well, I wish I could respond right here on Dispatch to all of the comments that you posted on the video, but of course that isn't possible. I do want you to know that I read all of them, and I try to respond to as many of them as I can. I really appreciate them because They allow me to interact with you, and of course, that kind of interaction is what this show is all about. All right, it's time for our second big shout out. Our second shout out goes to Scott and his Chessie, Pennsylvania division. Scott is modeling the Chessie system in western Pennsylvania as it existed in 1974. His layout includes trackage for interchange operations with the Penn Central. It's a multi-level, shelf-style layout with upper and lower levels that are connected by a 4-turn helix. There are staging yards at both ends of the layout, at the north and the south ends. Let's take a look.
Adding some of the details really is helping some of the scenes come together a little bit. Also finally finished up the propane tanks, so those are all painted, weathered, dull coated. I also did all the yard piping. Also did some additional undergrowth in this area. So that's about it in that part of the railroad. We'll swing around here, come back over into Falls Creek, and have some updates here as well.
Okay, I want you to go over to Scott's Chessie PA division and check it out. I'll put a link to his channel down below. Be sure to subscribe while you're there and tell him Roy Smith sent you. Well, that just about concludes tonight's show. Remember, I upload 2 videos each week. Dispatch on Tuesday nights, which you're watching right now, and a layout update on Saturday mornings. I hope to see you at both of these each week. Of course, if you're new here, be sure to subscribe and hit that little bell icon so that you get notified of new uploads. I don't want you to miss any of them. Thanks again for joining me tonight here on Dispatch. Until next time, happy railroading. I'm Roy Smith, and I will see you again very soon.